fertilizer. Oh, ooh. Yeah, I should bounce back to production here. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So that's technology. A good one to start out with is just muzzle-loaded rifles. Even though I get a decrease in it, it just helps to just get a good head start with your military. Now I'm gonna go actually bounce back to production and factories. So basically, you see here, you can filter what you want to see. I never even use those. Production, again, there's a lot of, like, minute stuff like this kind of thing. I just don't even bother with it. The computer does a great job with optimization as it is. Then you have projects, and this is what's good about having capitalists. It's because they will start projects for you. They will build factories for you. They will build railroads for you. The fact is, it just depends on, do they have the supplies? And that takes longer than you just going and clicking and starting it, because then you automatically buy up the amount of supplies you need. But lots of times, if you get enough capitalists, you don't even have to worry about that. They'll just automatically start it once you get a better railroad system or better factories. Here's your factory screen. It just lists your factories. Actually, I have it right now. It does not show the empty states, and it's better to show the empty states, so you can continuously upgrade them. So in New England, I have a fabric factory, and then it shows here the employee is not very highly employed. Then you can subsidize it, which will pay for costs and whatnot. That, again, depends on your politics up here. So, down here in Massachusetts, actually quite a few people are working at the factories, which is good to have canned food and glass. That's a good base factory here. New York's got a cement factory. You always want a cement factory. You will talk to anyone. Cement, 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 cement. Lumber, another good one to have. Steel, again, another good one to have. Over here, you can just create factories. And then it shows you how many craftsmen or clerks are within that state and how many factories. You're actually limited to the amount of factories you can have in each state, which is 8. Then you have the amount of capitalists that are within that region and its infrastructure. So as you can see here, a lot of them don't even have railroads, and a couple of them do. So move on to politics. This is one of the most important screens you will ever see in this game. Where to start? Yeah, I'll start over here. As you can see, right now, the upper house, or for all you Americans, the Senate, is currently 100% conservative, or part of the Democratic Party. Now, an interesting thing about this game is that it works off the political system that I've gone in depth into this, but I'm not going to do it quite yet. I may do it later. The political system here is pretty much based on what your reforms are set at. So they're 100% conservative. And a lot of you Americans out there, conservative is automatically associated with the Republicans, and everyone thinks they want to make stuff. They want to take stuff and make it so that they want to roll back reforms in any case, or they want to keep. But here's the thing, that's reactionaries, and that's another thing here. Conservative, they have the word conserve in their name. They just want to keep things how it is. I just want you. I'm not preaching my political beliefs here. That's the last thing I'm gonna do on this show. Oh, Christ, on this video. But I just want to clear that up. Conservatives want to just keep it conserved how it is. You know, with universal voting and a 2 per state upper house and all that good stuff. Okay, not all that good stuff, because there's a couple things in here that I am going to end up changing. Yeah, I just want you to remember that. Because we are a democracy, I can't actually choose who's in charge. Democracy is the only one that you can't choose who's in charge. All the other ones you can select who's in charge. So you have the Democratic Party, the Whigs, who are the liberals, and the Southern Democrats, who are the reactionaries. I'm going to spend a little more time than on other stuff with this. God, I've probably made a solid 2 videos now, and I have not even played the game. I just had to describe all this stuff for you. Basically, you have here is the Democratic Party, which is your conservative party. Again, sorry, I'm repeating myself here. Almost every country starts with 3 parties: a liberal, a reactionary, conservative, and a liberal party. Pretty much what that means is the reactionaries are reacting words here. They're reacting to things, and this is the ones for all you Americans. This is what you think the Republicans want to do. Is reactionaries want to roll back reforms. They want to make it as like an earlier time. So, if the majority of my upper house were reactionaries, I could actually switch it from weighted universal voting to wealth voting, so that poor people can't vote at all. And if they stayed within power, I could keep getting it back to where there's no voting whatsoever. Reactionaries are hardly ever in a majority, and even if they are, you hardly ever are able to roll back reforms. Then you have your conservative party. Conservatives, again, they just want to keep things how they are. They will hardly ever go forward or backward, but they have the option to go forward or backward, which is what's interesting about the conservatives. Then you have your liberals. They will always go forward. They will never go back, unless there is a huge backlash within the population. They will always go forward. So if I got a majority of the Whigs in the Senate, I would end up switching off to universal voting. All here you see are the policies. I'm only going to go over the important ones here. You have the trade policy. There's free trade and protectionism. See down here, and that pretty much just dictates what your what your tariffs can be set at. You can see it right there. I'm an idiot. That's all it means. Economic policy is the important one. There's 4 different economic policies. There's starting from the left to the right, you have, I always fuck up this name, laissez-faire, I'm just going to pronounce it how I've always pronounced it, laissez-faire. That pretty much means you can't touch the industry in your nation. It is all run by the capitalists. You can't even build railroads. The capitalists are the ones who are going to have to do that. And it really depends on your playing style for that one. I'm going to get into that a little more in depth. Then you have interventionism, which is you can expand factories, you can close them, you can set priorities, but you can't build factories. And I'm pretty sure you can build railroads. Yes, you can build railroads. And then you have state capitalism, which is kind of like the communists, where you can build factories and all that good stuff. Then there's one in here that's not here, that's planned economy, and that's where you can do whatever you want with your economy. And also all these different ones increase the cost to build things that the capitalists do. So currently we're at interventionism, so that increases the cost of building a factory to 150%, whereas that's 50% more than the original. But down here in state capitalism, it is 200%, so now you are paying for 2 factories for one. Down here, it actually brings it back to 100%, which is the normal. Then you have your war policy, which none of these, there's 4. There's jingoism, which allows you to spend as much money on the war, on your military as you like. Then there's pro-military. Hold on. Oh, jingoism actually... Oh, I never knew this. Oh, you learn something new every day. Jingoism and I'm actually thinking more about pro-military than jingoism, because pro-military allows you to spend as much money as you like. Jingoism actually increases the supply consumption. Okay. Alright, then you really want a pro-military state. After that, going down, you have the anti-military, which sets your military spending at, like, 75%. And then you have pacifists that... sorry, what out there is pacifist. Why am I saying sorry? Fuck you, pacifists! I said I wouldn't bring my political beliefs in here, but that's the one thing I do feel strongly about. And then you have pacifists that set it to 50%, and that really just fucks your military. I'm not even going to get into the other stuff there. This is already taking way too long to describe all this. Then you have your social reforms. Again, I'm not even going to get into that right now. Then you have your political reforms. I'll get into that later. Then you can release nations that have cores, and I'll get into that again later. So Canada, Cherokee, New England, blah, 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 blah. Then you have rebels. There are actually no rebel parties currently, but I can guarantee within starting this game there will be a rebel party somewhere. Then you have decisions. This is restore the academia. That's what I was talking about with all your bonuses and defects to business schools and tycoons. You can set it so that you can get it down to where there's no bonus, but there's no penalty either. But the problem with that is you lose prestige. You actually lose prestige over time, just in general, and you get less research. So really, it benefits you just to leave it how it is in the beginning of the game, unless you are pressing for something else. The U.S. actually starts with a lot more decisions than other countries. I'm not even going to get into most of those right now. Trade, don't even bother going into that screen. I'll show you it. It's so goddamn confusing. I don't even know what to do with it. It shows you the top producers of stuff and whatnot. I don't even care. I don't even worry about it. Oil. I said nobody's producing oil because there's no oil yet. I'm boring myself explaining this, so I will do my best to get through this quick. Again, don't even bother with this. The computer automates that. Military, you can actually do all of this. Your build army, create general, admiral, which I actually never do those. The computer does that perfectly fine on its own. Build army, you can actually do right off of this screen, so I hardly ever go into there. That shows you how many brigades you can support and how many you have. That shows how many reserved brigades you have. Population, again, I'll deal with that later. So, let's get started. Now, national focuses, as I was already talking about, these are very important. You can have as many national focuses as 1 million people per your primary culture. And that primary culture, which, again, the people who made this game were probably foreigners because they freaking call them Yankees. It's called Americans. Anyway, they call them Yankees, and for as many million people as you have, that gives you an extra point. But you're maxed out at those points to how many of these ones you have. Right now, even though my population is close to 4 million, I only have 2 million Yankees. So I only get 2 national focus points. Right now, my national focus, which already starts for the game, already starts you as colonizing Oregon and Wisconsin. Wisconsin's over there. Washington. Once those are done, I actually had the option. I could colonize British Columbia if I want. I've done that before. It doesn't really actually give you any bonuses. It doesn't give you anything important. I would just focus colonizing here. The Mexicans always go to colonize Colorado, so then I would just do Idaho and Oklahoma. Okay, that's a lot of talking. Over here you have your armies and navies, and this will actually increase with other stuff, like factories and railroads and whatnot later. And the U.S. is in a very tenuous situation right now because between the years